So when we left this problem, we had written the equation for Unitel's charges as y equals 1995 plus 1495 x, where x is the number of gigabytes of data and y is the cost of the plan per month. I should probably put that down, per month. Okay, so when we are now looking at this, then Cellberry is the cost of the plan per month is $9.95 plus $17.50 multiplied by the number of gigabytes of data. Now, when we went to Desmos and graphed this, we ended up with this. And if we zoom out on, if I zoom out, you can see how these lines, they're running very close to one another, but they definitely have an intersection point. So if we run in and find that intersection point, it is roughly there. Okay, so there is our intersection of the data. So now this says, interpret the solution. How many gigabytes of data do you get when the two plans cost the same amount? So when we look at this, let me go back to the page here. Interpret the solution to the system. How many gigabytes of data do you get when the two plans cost the same amount? Well, remember, the solution to this system is 3.922 and 78.577. Okay, so remember, that's our x and this is our y. So that means that x is the number of gigabytes of data and y is the cost for the month. Now, what does that mean when these two lines cross each other? Well, when those two lines cross each other, that's when the cost is the same for the same amount of gigabytes of data. So when this says, how many gigabytes of data do you get when the two plans cost the same amount? Well, you would say you'd get about let's go 3.9 gigabytes of data. Okay, well, we'll even go better than that. We'll say 3.92. There, we'll make it even smaller or more specific. For the cost of, now remember, we're going to have to, if this is money, we have to round this to the nearest dollar amount. So we would need to say for the cost of, how much will that be? Well, that's going to be $78. And we're going to round that up to 58 cents because that's when those two lines intersected, when the gigabytes of data and the cost intersected at that one point. So now if you needed more than 3.92 gigabytes of data, which company would you choose? Well, it would depend on, let's look at the line again. So let's go back to our data on Desmos. And you can see as we move further and further in here, which line, which is the red line is Unitel and the blue line is Cellberry, which line has a lower cost amount for the higher amount of data? Well, you can see here that the higher they go, the gap between the blue line, which is Cellberry, and the red line, which is Unitel, gets wider and wider. And which line would be lower on the graph? Well, that would be the Unitel line. So if you wanted more than 3.92 gigabytes of data, you would definitely want to go with Unitel because the graph for Unitel is lower as the amount of data gets higher. So the cost is lower as the data gets higher. So Unitel is the clear answer because they will be cheaper for more gigabytes of data. Whoops, for more. Okay, perfect. All right, well, let's look at question number 13 then. Graph a system of equations with the solution -4 and 6. Be sure to record the equation represented in your data for the graph. Okay, so remember what you're trying to do here you've got this -4, 6. Remember, that is your x and your y. Now, what you're going to want to do is come up with two different equations where the solution, where the lines intersect, is going to be at -4, 6. So that's entirely up to you to write that out, and you can do that. Okay, you just have to come up with a system of equations, two equations, and they be easy to graph. Y equals, make it in slope-intercept form. Two equations. So that using these two numbers here, -4 and 6, you know that when they intersect, they will hit that point right there. So let's say that this is the you know what, I'm going to erase that. Hold on a second here. Okay. Just a sec. There we go. I'm going to try to freehand this out. So if this is our graph, right, we want the intersection of these points to be at -4, 6. We go over to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. That is where our lines should intersect. So all you have to do is come up with two different equations that will create a line that will intersect at just that point right there. Okay? So then moving along, you need to create a system of equations that satisfy the following criteria. Remember, to have a system of equations that has one solution, well, you're going to have a place where two lines intersect on your graph. Remember that to have no solution, you have to have two lines that will run parallel because they will never, ever intersect. And then remember, to have an equation that has infinitely many solutions, your system of equations would need to have lines that run right on top of each other because every point on that line would be the same as the one before. So it's up to you to come up with those equations for those systems. Okay, good luck. Have fun with it. And don't forget to be awesome. I will see you next time.